Welcome to the latest episode of Cave Sports Football. I am your host, Proper, and I am joined by Legit Naro, Feel the Burn, aka Zach. But before we dive in, please swing by our website, K4V3.com, if you haven't already, and connect with us. You should also consider becoming a member of our Patreon for just $1 a month. This grants you access to exclusive podcast episodes available only on our Patreon, and a membership to our Discord server where we talk about everything from memes, sports, theories, fight breakdowns by Jerizi himself, and much more. So please hop on. We've got something for everyone. And before we begin tonight's episode, I just want to give another special shout out to our sponsor again, SafeLightCandle.com. Check out their website for all your LED lighting needs, whether it's for your home, office, or studio. SafeLightCandle.com has lights that fit anything you could possibly imagine for your lighting needs. Visit them now to stay lit for the low. Now, we are here. End of the season has finally, we're pretty much headed for the postseason. We're just getting ready for that. So let's just jump into it. We're gonna have a good discussion about the playoffs and Super Bowl predictions. So before we get there, I'm gonna run down a quick recap of scores. So if you guys want to talk about any of those games in particular, real quick, just go ahead and bring it up. But we'll have the scores down at the ticker. So Steelers pulling it out against the Ravens, but we kind of saw that coming. I think the Ravens were benching, right? I didn't watch the game, but the Ravens...
They benched like three guys. They benched Lamar. They benched OBJ.
But hey, a win's a win.
Somebody. But it was a win, and it was nasty, dude. I don't know if you guys watched the game. It was nasty. And Rudolph had 110 passer rating, which is pretty good in like pouring down weather. I believe Mason Rudolph is the future of this organization. I'm just kidding. But he's definitely going to make Kenny work for it next year, which would be nice.
What were you saying about Mason Rudolph? What were you saying about Mason Rudolph earlier? He's the what?
He's this year's Nick Foles.
Oh,
I'm telling you, man. Listen, I'll be one. We'll get into it later.
Now we got C.J. Stroud entering the playoffs after taking down the Colts 23-19. How are you guys feeling about C.J. Stroud's coming into the playoffs?
Shout out Stroud boys, all the Stroud boys out there. This is crazy, dude. Rookie quarterback, rookie head coach, making the playoffs or winning the division in their first year. That's pretty incredible. Shout out to who I dubbed as the best quarterback coming out of the 2024 NFL draft. Stroud. He had some throws in this game that were really impressive. They're clicking right now. They're going to be a tough out, I think, in the playoffs. They got a matchup here that's going to be very interesting, and we'll talk about later. But yeah, shout out to Houston.
Yeah, Houston fans must be real happy with their quarterback, C.J. Stroud, putting up great numbers. I mean, they had a rocky start, and they found everything started clicking. So they're coming in strong in the playoffs. So, wherever they place, I do kind of see them at least, taking out the first round, and we'll see what happens in the second.
Yeah, I feel bad for they're not going to have to take Dell into it, but that's going to be good.
Yeah. Now we got the Bucs against the Panthers. Very ugly game, boring. This was the nap time game. This is 9-0 against the Panthers. Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers after this season, what do you guys think? Is it working, or is Tampa just going to have to start looking for another quarterback again?
I think that they should give him an opportunity to get his job back again next year. They did win the division. It was ugly the entire year, but they did win the division. Now the NFC South is just ugly, period. But he had he had a decent amount of games where he played very well. So I feel like if they give him a shot next year, he might be able to mold well with the offense, and it might be a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just feel Baker Mayfield has some talent, and he just needs to find that team that can, build an offense around him. So hopefully that's something Tampa Bay is able to put around him next season. But moving on, we got the Browns, Bengals. I know I think I chose the Browns. on this one. Joe Flacco didn't play. Was it Driscoll? Driscoll was playing.
That is a record 5 QB starts for one team in a season.
Oh my god. But that's the Browns, right? 14-31 against the Bengals. Kind of a shocker for me. I thought, Browns were going to come in hot and just finish the season off with a pretty good win against the Bengals that haven't been looking like they were in the past couple seasons, especially with Burrow out, which is the obvious thing. But yeah, anything you guys saw in that game in particular you feel like is worth mentioning before we move on?
I feel like Jake Browning has some upside to him.
Yeah.
It's clear that they don't, because Jake Browning was doing decent. So it's clear that they don't necessarily, not that they don't necessarily need Burrow, but like Jake Browning has an opportunity to maybe step in somewhere for somebody who needs a quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. So for teams out there who are going to start looking for quarterbacks soon, Jake Browning might be able to kind of step in. But it also could just be that he's fitting well with the Bengals.
Mm-hmm. All right. What about you, Zach?
For that game, absolutely not. That was a who cares game.
Yeah.
Cleveland was already clinched, and Cincinnati was already eliminated.
Of course.
What?
I'm gonna do some research. On this, but I can't remember the last Super Bowl champion that lost the last week of the season, and then ended up going on to win. So I think tanking and losing in that last game of the season could come back to haunt one of the hottest teams in football.
I think just a quick thing here: the AFC North is the first since 1935 or something like that to finish every team above a 500 record.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Huh. Nice little tidbit there. All right.
Oh, and how many consecutive years is it for Tomlin now with a winning record?
So there's 16? Another team. 17. So he moves 17. Up to the third. He's now not tied anymore. He has the third longest streak of wins, most consecutive wins. He's at 17. Belichick is at 19, and then there's somebody who's at 20 or 22 or something like that. Mm-hmm. But he does have a record for the longest winning streak by someone to start their career as a head coach.
Nice.
Interesting, but at some point that's got to give, like you said last episode, Tomlin's probably on his way out of there. So
I give him a couple more years. He turned it around.
More years. Yeah. I mean, I think he deserves that shot. So, let's go ahead and go on with what's our next slide here. The Titans. Oh, okay. Let's go Jets, Patriots. Okay, Titans, Jags. Derrick Henry's final game as a Titan. But yeah, I mean, obviously, not much really to talk about the Jags. Titans, it wasn't really much to really be excited about other than Derrick Henry's goodbye at the end. Now, I just want to ask you guys, where do you think Derrick Henry lands? I know there's a lot of potential teams, but where would you like to see him go starting next season?
Damn, I don't even have anybody in mind. I feel like Derrick Henry shouldn't be going to a place that's rebuilding. Not like Zeke went to New England. Like, I felt like that was almost disrespectful for Zeke. Like, Zeke should have had a shot somewhere else. Mm-hmm. I don't want that to happen again for Derrick Henry, but I feel like all the decent teams right now have running backs that they believe in. So it's kind of hard. Maybe to the depending on who the Broncos pick up next year as their quarterback.
Well, we're not going to have the money anyways because even if we release Russell Wilson, we got a lot of dead money just sitting there. So if Derrick Henry believes in the Broncos and wants to take a pay cut, sure, but I don't see that happening. We don't have the money.
It also depends. It also depends on what running backs might be heading out. Eckler's kind of on his way out. Chargers might be a decent spot for him.
Yeah,
that was a spot I was thinking of too.
Yeah, I think like you that actually could work for him. But like I said,
I got a good spot.
Where
is it gonna piss Nara off?
I don't think that I don't know. There's no reason.
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah, Baltimore.
Oh.
Yeah, Baltimore.
That'd be
insane.
I honestly wouldn't be scared though, because every time that the Steelers play Derrick Henry, they shut him down.
But do you think Derrick Henry would be
he has
open
Lamar
to?
Jackson as quarterback, so you'll have the threat of the quarterback.
Yeah, dual running threat.
Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is one.
Those option plays going to be crazy.
That's what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're Derrick Henry and you want to sign with a team, do you think he'd be willing to take like a smaller contract to get on a contender, or do you think Derrick Henry's going to try and get the most money out of this?
I feel like Derrick Henry's smart.
Mm-hmm.
Here's why. I feel like he's if Derrick Henry's smart, and I think that he is, he's made good money throughout the years with the Titans. He's been there for 8 years, right? And they were trying to build a team around him, and they just couldn't do it. I feel like if he is smart, I understand that running backs are kind of getting beat to death with their contracts, but he could go somewhere. He could take a pay cut, and it could work out because there might be contract potential and Super Bowl potential, or at least deep playoff potential, right? The Titans only got the second round of the playoffs. So I think he's smart. I think
I think that's going to be his attitude coming in. He wants to win now. He doesn't want to be part of a rebuild anymore. He tried to wait for the Titans to build something around him, and I don't think he wants to wait for that anymore. He wants to get on a team that has that future to offer. But I think that also comes with the price of something out of his expected, contract range. But like you said, I think he's smart too. I think he's going to weigh that option out. And I think to him, winning is going to outweigh the sizable contracts these rebuild teams are going to offer him.
I think Zach made a good point for the Ravens.
Where's your two other places, Zach?
Two more places. And initially, you guys might be like, what? Like, what if he doesn't want to rebuild? Minnesota, the spot I think he can land in, and Chicago. Chicago's going to have the picks, and they're going to be able to spend money.
And I feel like Chicago's a good line away from their offense.
That could be a quick turnaround in Chicago next year. If they could have someone like Derrick Henry, and if you keep Fields like the smart play he is,
Fields, man.
Yeah, trade that first pick, dude. Trade that first pick, grab more draft assets, and drop down to maybe have you could have the Giants leapfrog Washington from 3 to 1 to get Caleb, and then the Bears could still get Marvin Harrison at 3.
And if the Bears
you got Derrick Henry,
and the Bears could, oh my God, Marvin Harrison, the Bears could potentially make a really good play in the offseason for signing a lot of free agents for their line. That the Steelers did that this year. It was tough in the beginning of the year, but their line has been absolutely solid the last half of the year. It played very well. So the Bears, that would be crazy. That would be
nuts, huh?
And to be honest with you, we don't really know if the Lions can stay consistent, so the North could be up for grabs.
Yeah. And they still have Khalil Herbert that they could still ease into getting that full workload and working behind Derrick Henry. I think that'd be a good fit.
Absolutely.
Chicago.
Yeah.
He'd get paid, and he'd be on a pretty decent team too.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be exciting to see where Derrick Henry goes, because wherever he goes, I believe he's going to make a huge difference for that running game. Still got a lot left in the tank for him. So I actually, in a perfect world, of course I want to see him in Denver, but we don't have the money. It's not realistic. But I think those teams you guys just said that he'd be on are very, like the Chargers. I think that's a very reasonable one. Bears would actually be pretty crazy, but Baltimore, that dual running threat plus the option play, going to be hard to stop. So going to be interesting to see where he goes. But yeah, so next game we have is the Falcons losing to the Saints. I mean, we all saw that coming, but we didn't see the Saints winning by this kind of a margin. What are your takeaways from Derek Carr in this game?
Derek Carr,
a little too late
to show up. Derek Carr has always showed up when he needed to show up. He always has. He's brought the Raiders to the playoffs more than half of his time in his career there.
Yeah, but where was it the rest of the season?
Got him to the playoffs. That's all that matters.
At
that point, it's your coach's job to make sure the shit goes. And also the Bengals shouldn't even have made it to the Super Bowl that year because the Raiders should have beat the Bengals.
True.
No.
Yes.
That was second quarter, dude. There was still so much football left.
The play was blown dead.
That was second quarter.
They only lost by less than a touchdown.
That was too early in the game for it to make a difference, in my opinion.
I get it, but it could have played. That's a mindset play too.
I mean, both good points, really. I mean, it was only second quarter, but
actually tell, but it's possible.
It's possible because how many games have there been when it's always been like one stupid thing that happened early on in the game?
Saints, I will say it wasn't as egregious as that no-call pass interference when they played the Rams.
That was wild.
That was infinitely worse.
Yeah.
But I mean, it did play a factor. But I don't want to.
So
it's too early.
Now I want to talk about something here with the Falcons. The Falcons have a decent setup. They just need a quarterback and they need a good coach.
Mm.
How do you have Pitts and Bijan Robinson and Drake London and just have like the worst offense in the NFC? How is that possible?
Bad, bro. He's so bad. They fired him at midnight. They announced they fired him.
Yeah. Well, he was crying about them scoring at the end of the game. Like, stop him. It's the NFL. I don't want to hear that.
He fucking went.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that shit. Stop him.
What's our next slide? We got, I think it was the Jets Patriots. Jets beating the Patriots. I mean, nothing too impressive, but the Jets, you know, it's sad to see how their season went, especially if you're a big fan from Aaron Rodgers out at first game, but rumors of him supposedly supposed to play in this game. I said no way, why would they? But New York comes out with a win 17-3 over the Patriots. And here's a team that Zach was saying Derrick Henry might fall to, which is the Vikings, losing to the Lions. Any quick takes on the Lions coming into the postseason? What do you guys got for them?
Happy for them. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah. I can see it happen too. They got a good coach. We have a veteran quarterback who's been there, so he can stick with them and get them to where they need to be. Mm-hmm. I don't think that they're gonna make it all the way through, but they can make a deep run.
Yeah, they could definitely make a.
They potentially could go to the championship and lose to the Niners.
Yeah, no, they definitely have some fight in them, and I wouldn't count them out too early. But like you said, when it gets deeper in the playoffs, where the more experienced teams are playing, I feel like that's where they're going to meet their challenges. But I do see them, like you said, making a deep run, and then we'll see how it goes from there. I mean, anything can happen.
I want to point out one thing before you switch this slide. Actually, two things.
Okay.
You know, that ref incident, I know I wasn't on the pod last week, but that ref incident in Dallas, it could have costed them home field. However, if home field was on the line this weekend, I think the Niners would have played their guys.
Yeah.
So that's not this. I don't want to go that too far. Jets, they're going to win the AFC East next year.
Oh yeah.
Well,
no.
They're going to win the AFC East next year if Aaron Rodgers is healthy all season. That team.
I will give you that they're going to be dangerous. I will give you that you're going to be dangerous. But if the Bills are smart, they keep their offensive coordinator, and the Bills will continue to dominate the East. The Dolphins are frauds. The only good thing about the Dolphins is Tyreek. Tua cannot do anything without Tyreek. And Jalen Waddle on the field at the same time. He was forcing everything last night.
I'm glad.
But Tyreek can't do anything without Tua too, because Tua makes it work for Tyreek. I mean, that connection between those two is something that we can't disregard. Huh?
But look at Patty without him.
That's my point. Right? Patty has not been as good without Tyreek.
Of course. They're complementary players, just like Tyreek and Tua.
But you're still not going to slander Pat, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, why are you slandering Tua?
I'm not slandering Tua. I'm saying...
I thought you were slandering
Tua. No, you're right. Sorry, I got the names wrong. I am slandering Tua. I don't think that Tua is a good quarterback. I think he's a fraud. He wasn't good.
So is Mahomes a little fraudulent too, then?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's been noticeable. He has not played as well without Tyreek there.
He just hasn't had reliable receivers, in all honesty. Like, a lot of drop passes.
Juju is not as fast as Tyreek, but Juju has secure hands.
Oh, yeah. Good hands.
Stick him.
I'm glad. Hold on. I'm glad you brought up the fraudulence in Miami because you know who has more wins against teams above 500 than the Dolphins do this season?
Who?
Everyone.
The freaking Patriots. The Patriots have 2 wins over teams above 500. Dolphins have 1.
Huh.
Wild.
I don't think that Tua is a second string quarterback for sure. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that he would be at the level that he was without Tyreek being there.
I have a question then.
Interesting take.
Would you rather have Tua or Desmond Ridder?
Tua.
Oh, I'd rather have Tua for sure.
Okay.
Desmond Ridder's a fifth-string quarterback. He shouldn't even like.
All right, then let's do one more. On the Steelers, would you rather have Tua on the Steelers right now or Mason Rudolph?
I'd rather have Mason Rudolph.
Oh.
I'd rather have Mason Rudolph, and it will show. It will show. I know. I'm being a little biased, obviously, but Mason's had really, really good games, man.
That's true.
He's had great games.
I mean, we'll give him that, but
now I will say he's got Deontay Johnson and George Pickens are fantastic receivers, so I can't necessarily say anything about that. But I think that Rudolph is more calm and comfortable than Tua is.
Yeah. Okay.
Because what I saw last game, what I saw versus the Bills was shocking to me. Because once they started getting into a bad situation, he tried to force everything, and it just didn't. It was not working. He kept trying to force everything to Tyreek. And when Tyreek wasn't on the field, he made a bad throw. Terrible fucking throw. That ball should not have gone to Claypool. He was covered too, and it was short. It was just bad. I don't think that Tua is a second string quarterback, but he's not. He's a mid-range first string quarterback.
All right. Well, let's keep it moving along so we get to our playoff preview discussion. We got divisional slide right here. Broncos losing to the Raiders. You got the Chiefs and Blaine Gabbert winning narrowly to the Chargers. Funny game, but obviously they're going to sit pat because they're in the wild card against, I think, what was it, the Dolphins?
They're playing. They're hosting.
Is it
Dolphins?
Yeah,
they're hosting the Dolphins. Yep.
No
wild card
offensive
round
touchdown scored in that game.
What?
There's no offensive touchdown scored in that Chiefs Chargers game.
None.
Damn, that's crazy.
There was a scoop and score on the fumble by the Chiefs, and then there were 6 field goals.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll get into the playoffs. We'll get into it.
Yeah, and then just real quick in the Broncos, the Raiders, a lot of fans are happy with that coach. You guys think they just keep him or they get rid of him?
Keep him. Please keep him.
He's a player's coach.
Coach, bro.
The players love him.
Last time did great. They need to keep him.
Yeah, I think he's a right fit.
We need less people out of the Harbaugh race too, so keep him. Do the right thing, Mark Davis. Oh, and hire Telesco too. Telesco's a good GM.
Yeah,
I thought that he was.
The Broncos need to get rid of George Payton.
Who's George Payton? The GM?
The stupid GM. Yeah. Terrible.
Wait, they have a coach and a GM, both Payton?
Yep. That's why last episode I said Payton. So for anyone who's watching, I didn't say get rid of Sean Payton. I said get rid of George Payton.
George. Too many Paytons.
Too many. And then he got Peyton Manning in the front office somewhere filming commercials for the Broncos.
Well, he is the logo, so.
He pretty much is. With that big old forehead. Stamp that logo on his forehead. You got the Bears on the next slide. We got Bears, Packers, and the Cowboys coming in hot into the playoffs. But before we talk about that, the Bears, if they have Derrick Henry, obviously this could be a different result next season. But the Packers showing that it's working with Jordan Love. And I know there was a little doubt saying, it's a hard act to follow, especially with Aaron Rodgers. But Jordan Love shows he can get the job done. Any takes for you guys with the Bears or the Packers at the end of the season?
The Packers are real, and Jordan Love is real, and
the love is real.
As someone who used to follow the Packers very extensively as a child and saw Brett Favre there and saw him leave for the Jets and Aaron Rodgers take over, and then now as an adult, Aaron Rodgers left for the Jets and Jordan Love took over. Like this shit, how does it happen? Like this is crazy. And this is the same formula that the Packers have used before. In 2009, they were the 6th seed in that playoffs.
Yeah.
And got hot right before the season ended, and Aaron Rodgers carried them. Actually, the defense carried him, but Aaron Rodgers did just enough and showed us his flashes of greatness that year, and they won the Super Bowl. This feels similar, and as a fan of the Niners, it kind of frightens me, to be honest. But they're for real. Very impressive end of the season for the Packers.
Yeah,
he has
turned it around.
He has almost the exact same stats as Aaron Rodgers did that year. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Now I will tell you this.
Oh man!
Game week 3 of the season, I called it. I knew that he was going to stay. I don't think that we'll get into it. I don't think they're strong enough yet to deal with the Niners. The Niners are the truth, but they are real. They have a real shot to go deep. Well, they have to play Niners game too. That's going to be tough.
I know. I mean, if they made it to the Super Bowl, they would go through the number 2 and number 1 seeds in the NFC. And then probably Detroit, maybe. It's crazy to think about. Like beating all top 3 seeds and then possibly having to beat Baltimore. And that's the similar. Oh man, the script is the same, dude. It's crazy.
All right,
it is. Yeah. So Cowboys making a big win over the Commanders, going into the playoffs hot. This is now a team I believe that is a legitimate shot at the Super Bowl with the 49ers. I had the Eagles up there. Now the Eagles coming in as just on a decline into the playoffs is very concerning, especially if you're an Eagles fan. I know Francis was saying last time that's his concern, that they're playing so shitty towards where they need to be playing at a high level. And right now, the Eagles are lost to the Giants 10-27. And granted, Jalen walked out with a finger injury. I think it was just like a dislocation, right? So he was out for the remainder of the game. So I feel like that made the difference. But still, for the Giants to put up 27 against the Eagles, that's crazy. And that was Zach's favorite team coming into the season.
Tyrod Taylor exposed that Eagles defense, man.
Oh, he did. A lot of opening in that defense, and I think going into the playoffs, that's not something you want to show these teams that are going to be playing you. And the fact that Eagles, top team, and they went, 10-0 before losing one game, and then, holy shit, now they're in the wild card? What the fuck?
Yeah, them and the Jaguars, dude, biggest falls. Jaguars were 8-3, missed the playoffs.
The Jaguars, that's their fault. That's the terrible towel curse. It's real.
What'd they do? What happened?
They after their game stealing pick or something like that, they ran over to the sidelines and 3 of them grabbed the terrible towel and started wiping it,
no.
playing with it. The terrible towel curse is fucking real, man. So that's
don't touch that shit.
Don't touch that. I mean,
Browns are next.
This Giants-Eagles game was how it was supposed to end. This is how I saw it at the beginning of the season. This was going to be the game that the Giants were going to win and beat the Eagles and win the division. It was going to be this week. They just couldn't win any more games before this. I saw this happen. I just missed the middle part.
I'll get into my stuff with the Eagles when we get to the playoffs.
Yeah. And then we had the other Super Bowl contender right here, the 49ers falling to the Rams by 1 point, which is crazy. I mean, Carson Wentz had a pretty decent game. I would say give him credit for what he did in it. I was watching this. Made plays when they needed them, and 21-20 was the final result. For a 49ers fan like yourself, Zach, I don't think you're going to be worried at all going into postseason. But what does this game tell you about hey, the Niners need to fix this.
They can't. Arnold.
You know that scene in Super Troopers when they're at the firing range and they're shooting and Mac gets the bulletproof cup on and he has a Ramathorn, like how he's shooting today, and Ramathorn pulls his targets out and he has all the bullets, and then there's that one at the bottom. It's like, oh, that little guy? I wouldn't worry about that little guy. That's how I feel about this game.
Okay.
This was the Scab Bowl, dude. This was like backups all around except for Puka in the beginning of the game. Shout out to him for breaking the rookie record for receptions and yards
that's
by a receiver. Pretty cool for a fifth round pick out of BYU, I think. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this was. I mean, the Rams scored late, went for 2, and that's how they got 21. It was 20-13 going to the end of that game.
It was, but it was exciting to watch because I remember watching it first. I was like, "Yeah, Niners got this," and then all of a sudden, holy shit!
Yeah, then I got excited. Yeah, for sure. So not too worried because both teams didn't play their starters. If this would have been, both teams playing their starters, and then this is how the Niners go into the playoffs, I would have been a little more worried. But the Rams are they have potential to make some noise. That we're going to talk about it in the playoff preview, but I'm excited for that first round match.
We'll get there. We're getting into the playoff preview soon, but we got another slide to go through. We got the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Seahawks pulling off a win over the Cards, just barely. And then we got the Bills, as we predicted. We're going to beat the Dolphins because, like we all know, the Dolphins haven't played well against good teams. And that's pretty evident here. I mean, they started off pretty well against the Bills in this game, but the Bills still showed why they're much better than them. So going into the playoffs, you see these two teams coming in. We'll get to the playoff preview soon, but before we wrap up this recap, anything you guys want to highlight from these two matchups right here?
The Seahawks. Go ahead.
Okay.
Prater missed a field goal to win that game at the end of regulation. Had the Cardinals, or had Prater made it and the Cardinals won, the Cardinals would have dropped to number 5 in the draft, and the Chargers would have been number 4.
Oh.
So just something to think about when we get moved forward towards draft season. That could have been a pretty important miss for the Cardinals.
What about you, Nar? You had something.
I think it was kind of cool that the Seahawks found out mid-game that they were, or not mid-game, but at the end of the game, they found out that they were eliminated. They still at least tried to, push through and win. I think that Geno Smith proved that it's now 2 years. Geno Smith has proven that he's a good quarterback. I feel like they just kind of need. I feel like it's the same situation with Belichick and Tomlin with what's his name. I feel like it's kind of time for him to move on and get a different head coach in there.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, in Seattle?
Yeah. Ooh. I feel like he's just been there too long. It's just sometimes it needs to be an Andy Reid situation. Sometimes you just need a change of scenery and you move on and you still do great.
I mean,
good coaches are good coaches.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. I mean, maybe Pete has passed his time already with the Seahawks. Maybe time for a new team, but I don't know. I don't know if that's what's in that management's hands, if they feel like they should part ways with him.
I think they believe him.
Yeah, they do. He's turned that organization around, so from the Sean Alexander and or fucking Matt Hasselbeck days,
That's the blueprint for Harbaugh right now.
What is it?
Go win in college, and then once you get in trouble, come back to the NFL.
Yeah, that's the Harbaugh sweepstakes begins again, I guess. Yeah. So, with that being said, all of those games, the season has finally ended, and if your team didn't make the playoffs, you have the offseason to look forward to. But we'll what's up?
I got something. Hey, Naro. Did the Steelers make the playoffs?
Yeah.
Oh, dang. Niners made a playoff.
Damn.
Very weird, by the way. After every single Eagles loss, we haven't had Francis on. Is that that a coincidence?
Been a little too consistent.
But his team made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? Hey,
Yeah.
Proper.
Mm.
What are the Broncos doing this weekend?
We haven't made the playoffs in the last few years, so nice one, but it doesn't hurt me.
Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. Weren't we on this show when the Broncos rattled off 5 straight wins?
6.
6 straight wins.
Uh-huh.
Talking about how they were going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, because they could have. But,
Damn.
there's a lot of shit that happened. I mean, Sean Payton is not innocent from any of this. There was so many shit he's done that I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And, Russell Wilson missing open receivers. I mean, it was there. They had the potential to get to the playoffs, but they just didn't. They couldn't finish. I mean, that win streak was very convincing. They were playing good, great football, and then all of a sudden, they lost that. Huh? There's rumors that Wilson knew before the season or right in the beginning of the season, right? No. So after they beat the Chiefs, the management talked to him in a bye week saying, "Hey, we need you to adjust your injury guarantee, or we're going to bench you for the rest of the season." And Russell Wilson's reply is like, "No, this is a physical sport. Why am I going to, the management's dysfunctional. I don't really like how they're handling things behind the scenes." But now all of a sudden there's news coming out saying that the Broncos are actually open to keeping him for next season. And in my opinion, it's like, well, it's not like we have any other option at quarterback anyways. It's not like you're going to find anyone in the free agency. I mean, there's Kirk Cousins. But we don't have the money to pay Kirk Cousins.
I think he stays. I think Kirk Cousins is the Vikings quarterback.
Yeah. I think he stays with the Vikings. And like I said, the Broncos are really going to have to think about this. You're going to release Russell and then we're going to play with Stidham next year? Okay, I'm not watching.
So, we all know about that Cat Williams interview that came out this week, right?
Yeah.
I know of it. I didn't really see it. But
he had a quote in there and it made me think of you instantly, Proper. He said, "You have an unnatural allegiance to losers, and that's not like you." So,
hey, man, Super Bowl 50. I mean, at least we have
Levi's.
that.
In Levi's, that's right.
In Levi's. But no. I mean, it's unfortunate for the Broncos to be in this position. I hate it as a fan, but, as a real fan, I'm not just saying it's all Russell. Dude, this whole team is fucked up. Vance Joseph is gone. I'm telling you that right now. They're going to find a new defensive coordinator. And people want, what's the fucking Rex Ryan? I don't know. Mr. Foot Fetish.
Oh, the feet guy.
Yeah, Mr. Foot Fetish.
So two AFC championships. He did lead the Jets to 2 AFC
back with butt fumble Mark Sanchez.
Oh.
But those B's were good though.
Oh, well, I mean, so yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised either when we didn't make it, so it is what it is. Another offseason of seeing what they do.
Sanchez is from around there?
Huh?
Sanchez is from around there?
He's from around here.
He's from here, yeah.
He went to Mission Viejo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the guy. But yeah, so with that said, we're going to just go ahead and dive into our playoff preview and discussion. That's what's going to take up a chunk of our episode today. I mean, we're already almost 40 minutes in, so the rest of this episode, we're just going to talk playoffs, baby.
Wow.
So right here's our bracket as it stands right now. Obviously, the Ravens and the Niners are clinched in the divisionals. But yeah, here's a wild card round coming this weekend. Let's just run it down real quick. Zach, go ahead. Tell us about these wild card matchups.
So Saturday kicks off with the 5-seeded Cleveland Browns against the 4-seeded Houston Texans in Houston. That game is going to be awesome. Can't wait for that one. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Fun game. Fun to smash. That's going to be a defensive battle, honestly.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be the other way around. You got two hot coming in there.
If it's not a defensive battle, Houston wins this game.
I believe that. I'll get into it when it's my turn. Go ahead.
We're not making picks right now. We're just running through this, right?
Yeah, we're just running through it.
I think that because the Browns screwed up and played with the terrible towel again this year is too.
Oh, God.
Yep, I think that this is the game that will mess them up because the Browns are solid, but I think the Texans knock them out.
I think Joe Flacco's going to have a good fucking game.
Good for Joe Flacco, by the way. Good for him.
Yeah, no, good for him. Good that his career can resurge in the Browns, but I think he could very well have a great game against these Texans. But that's nothing to say short of C.J. Stroud. I think Stroud is going to play like he's always been, and I see this being actually a very close, competitive game. We'll save the picks for later, though.
Saturday night, exclusively on Peacock, we got the Dolphins at the Chiefs. Interesting note here before we get into this.
Is Taylor Swift going to be there?
She will definitely be there. I actually heard she canceled going to SoFi last Tuesday and decided to go to the Golden Globes instead once everyone said they were going to.
Imagine having tickets to her fucking show and her canceling just so she can go to Golden Globes.
No, she was going to be in the suite for the game.
Oh, okay.
The Charger game. For the Charger Chiefs game this past weekend, but when everyone was going to be benched, she was like, "No, I'll go to the Golden Globes instead." But that game's going to have a negative 10-degree forecast.
Oh, Tua is done. He's an
island boy.
Under 40 degrees, Tua has not won a single game.
Dang, Tua Lipa's going down, huh?
Dude, I think it's going to be an ugly game.
One chance is all it takes.
I think it's going to be a real ugly game. That's what I think.
Yeah. So they're not going to be able to shake it off. That's what you're saying, man. You think this love story continues for Kansas City? We'll get into picks later. Sorry.
Just say yes.
Sunday morning, and I think this is kind of interesting. I just realized this now, laying this out. All three AFC games are going to be done before any NFC games start going. Sunday morning, we got Steelers at Buffalo, 10 a.m. game.
That's going to be a fun game. I know you guys don't believe so. I know a lot of people think that the Steelers are frauds. I know that they are. I know that a lot of people think so. But the last 4 times we played the Bills, we won. So
you can't deny that.
So 4-3, one of those two. Anyways, past 3 years we beat them. Past 3 or 4 years we beat them.
Little narrow knowledge there.
Realistically, I'm realistic. I think that the Bills will win the game, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as people think it's going to be.
No, because Josh Allen has shown his struggles throughout the season,
and the Steelers are the top takeaway team in the league.
Yeah, and the Bills haven't been perfect all season, and we've seen that, but they're still a very good team. They just need to make it work, and I think, yeah, like you said, the Steelers they should win against the Steelers, but I think the Steelers could also put a lot of pressure on them to play at a very high level.
And weather's not going to make a difference. They're an hour away from each other, 2 hours away.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun game. Yeah. The Bills are gonna be flying in that one. Sunday afternoon we have I think this is like Fox's wet dream here. The Joe Buck special. Packers at Cowboys here. That game is on Fox.
Can we have Tony Romo commentate that game, please?
See, I don't know how they do that. I think it's like CBS. That could be. No, I think CBS I think he's doing the Bills game.
Romo's great.
I love
two of the best franchises in the game going at it in the playoffs. That's going to be a ratings darling for the NFL for sure. This might be the highest watched game of the weekend, I think.
Roger Goodell splooging in his pants for that one.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a fun one. This is going to be a fun game too, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Next matchup.
Sunday night. Sorry, go ahead, Nora.
Oh, you're good. You're good. That's for my picks. You're good.
All right. Yeah, no, I'm kind of getting tied up with
I know.
Sunday night to close out Sunday, we got the Rams going to Detroit. Storylines in this one. Stafford as a visitor going home to play a playoff game against his former team, the Lions. Goff, obviously, his former team with the Rams. This is going to be a juicy one, boys.
It's like a switch, right? Stafford had a good run with the Rams. All of a sudden, Goff is having a good run with the Lions. So
yeah,
but I mean,
the first Lions playoff game I think since we've been alive. I don't know. Like this,
I know, right? Because every Lions game I've seen, all their fucking fans are wearing the fucking brown paper bag like I did earlier in the season.
Stafford got home playoff game, but Stafford
for the Lions.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Stafford had that. They had that funky ass game against the Cowboys that one year.
Yeah.
That was the one that was weird before the Des caught it game.
This is their first home. I think it's their first home appearance period in the playoffs.
Jesus, dude, history right here. And they got to take on their darling quarterback that was there forever, dude.
They're like
it's so crazy.
So, like, one of the big fan pages is calling for the Lions not to wear the Stafford jerseys, but I low key think that's fucked up. And I think that they should honor Stafford at that game. I understand that he's with the Rams now, but he showed nothing but love for the Lions even after he left, and he made the Lions even remotely relevant when he was there. Because I'll tell you what, Matt Stafford's prime low-key wasted in the Lions because Matt Stafford was nasty.
Stafford and Calvin, dude.
Yeah. Stafford always looked like he was doing keg stands after a game, too. But now the highlight is the big bubble around what's the next team, Zach? The next matchup, we got the Eagles, right?
So, yeah, closing out our wild card round, this Monday night football game. We got the Eagles going to Tampa. Probably the game I'm most excited for on the weekend.
Who saw that coming? Who saw that coming for the Eagles, right?
That's crazy, dude.
I think
I would have rather. I don't know. You know what? The Bucks have had some signs. I think they played. Who was it a couple weeks ago? Was it the Packers and they killed them? Is that the Packers' last loss?
I think so. I think it was.
Yeah, it was.
They fucking killed them, dude. When that game happened, that's when the Bucks showed up on my radar. I was like, they win that division. Because they still have a lot of pieces from that Super Bowl on that team.
The Jags.
Was it the Jags?
They destroyed the Jags and the Packers.
Yeah, the Packers were before the Jags. Yeah. So, I mean, are we going to see that Eagles team that was, lights out last year? I don't think so. Are they still going to have Patricia call defense? Like, there's some questions.
It's do or die.
There's a lot of issues with their coach.
With Sirianni?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's been coming out the past 2 weeks.
Like what?
The players are not happy with Nick Sirianni.
Are they going to have Devonta Smith? Didn't he leave the game last week?
I think all three of their. I think what's his
AJ
name?
Brown went down too, huh?
And AJ Brown doesn't even like talking anymore. He's just like, no.
No, AJ Brown's been done, dude. And apparently they had a players only meeting, and there was some issues, and So there's been apparently a lot of people. I think Nick Sirianni could possibly be out of there next year. There's been a lot of issues with him as a coach, apparently.
Yeah, to be honest, this should have been the 10 o'clock game on Sunday.
Oh man, the Eagles. I mean,
if you swap Bills and Steelers for Monday, that would have been the play there.
But like I was saying earlier, it's just who expected this for the Eagles to be playing in a wild card, sitting at 5th without a home field advantage? Because when they started this, we thought, fuck, this is gonna be the team to beat, and it's gonna be them and the Niners fighting for that Super Bowl spot. But
Francis predicted this too. Like, he didn't predict this exact seating, but like early on, Francis was talking about how there's a lot of holes that he saw that haven't been exposed yet, and then they started getting exposed in the playoff and later in the year.
Francis was also trying to avoid that jinx as well. He was trying to find any excuse he could to talk down on them. I mean, I guess it ended up coming true. Huh? He willed it into existence, right?
And missing every episode when the Eagles lose. What are you doing?
Why are you, Francis?
I think that I also think that Jalen Hurts' rushing title is bullshit.
Nah, come on.
It's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Come on.
The collective yards is like 48 yards versus Cam Newton's 198 yards. Like, come on.
Come on.
They are two different things.
Ticky-tacky, we'll give it that. But yeah, so there's the playoff picture as it stands this weekend. We got some good matchups, but Eagles-Bucks is like we all agree here. But a lot of good matchups. It's do or die time, and it's going to be exciting to see. So moving on to our next thing, let's go on with our Super Bowl predictions real quick, just to have a little fun. I know we're the script and the logo shows who we think is going to be in there, but I think honestly, here's how I see it going. The Niners are going in 100%, but I think they're going to be facing the Eagles for that spot, and I think not the Eagles, but the Cowboys. The Cowboys, sorry. The Cowboys. The Cowboys are coming in hot into the playoffs, and this is exactly, as a team going into the playoffs, this is how you want to be playing this late in the season. And the Eagles are playing like shit. Like, how? Huh?
I don't think it's the Eagles. I don't think it's the Cowboys.
Cowboys are going in there to the conference finals with the Niners. That's how I see it playing out. And the Niners are going to the Super Bowl against the Ravens. It's going to be Ravens-Niners for me.
Not for me. All right.
Okay.
So this is where I have to go. As a fun pick, I think it could be Steelers-Niners. But hey, listen, this is recorded. Mark my words. If they get there,
it's a 5-7 by the or 6. Us to tie you guys, right?
Who?
That would be for us to tie you guys, the Super Bowls.
I don't know. Do you have 5?
We have 5. You guys have 6, right?
Yeah, you would tie us and in New England. So realistically, I think it's going to come down to the Bills and the Ravens, and I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I think it's toss up, but I think that the Bills are hot right now, and I really hope that out of anybody in the AFC, obviously I want the Steelers to go, but if it's not the Steelers, I would love for the Bills to go. They deserve it. They've had a rough couple of years. They keep getting basically kind of they're almost making it every time, and the small shit keeps happening. They have a decent core. They don't just rely on Diggs anymore. They have Gabe Davis. They have Kincaid. They have a good setup. Their defense is not terrible. I think that the Bills could do it. So I hate the Ravens too, and so I'm going with the Bills. And on my NFC side, I think it's going to be the Lions versus the Niners.
Okay.
I think it'll be Lions-Niners. But the Niners will still win, and they'll go. I really don't want the Niners to win the Super Bowl because I need less people away from 6. Or more people away from 6. But I really think that the Niners are going to win a Super Bowl this year. I really do.
I mean, I like what you said about the Bills, because I could definitely see the Bills entering the Super Bowl against the Niners. Because I think when you speak of the NFC, there's really no other team there that is going to make it out of there but the Niners. That's pretty given for me.
I will tell you this, though. Tell you this. If, on the off chance that the Steelers do beat the Bills, the Ravens are not going to the AFC Championship. We are the Ravens' Achilles heel. Look at the stats.
Oh, man.
Lamar is 1-11 against the Steelers all time. 1-11.
Is it Big Dick Mason time?
Big Dick Mason time, baby. Let's go.
Well, yeah, I mean, what about you, Zach?
All right, so before the season started, I kept hyping up this season as potentially to be one of the greatest that we've ever seen in the NFL. And so far, it's been up there. From week 1 through now, everything that's happened, all the games and everything, like, it's been crazy. I did also say that the parity was going to be nuts in this league this year. As you guys have both been talking, My opinions have kept changing. This is so hard. Because, and I'm not BSing you guys, all right? I am legitimately worried if the Niners have to host the Packers or the Rams in the second round. Those are two teams.
They're sneaky
that,
good.
yes, because of how hot they are going into the season, and the coaches and their ties with Shanahan. They know each other so well. LaFleur and McVay know Shanahan just as well as he knows them, right? The last time the Niners played the Rams in the playoffs, the Rams got their only win that season against the Niners. That was the NFC Championship game, and the Rams went on to go to win the Super Bowl. So I could see there's a case for every one of these games, and you kind of sold me on that Steelers one with, like, the lower seed can beat the higher seed, right? Like, the only thing going that anybody's talking about with this Packers-Cowboys game is that the Cowboys are at home, so they play better, right? If it was in Lambeau, we'd be talking about that game differently. Right?
I think the Cowboys would win that game hands down. Or the Packers would win that game hands down.
If it was in Lambeau, right? Yeah. See? Eagles-Bucks, what team is going to show up for the Eagles, right? Rams-Lions, like, no matter where that game would be played, I feel like it would be close. So, like, the NFC is tight. Okay?
Yeah.
AFC, the only for sure lock that I think in the first round is the Chiefs. I do not see the Dolphins winning that game at all.
Oh, I don't either.
I don't think it's there the way that they've hopped into the playoffs. Like, they're literally hobbling into Kansas City, and it's going to be freaking cold. So, like, that's my only lock. So, based on that, like, how I think it could set up, I'm gonna go Chiefs in the AFC. I'm gonna ride them. One thing that I said is you like whatever team in sports going forward as I've grown and watched this stuff happen. Until proven otherwise, that's still the team to beat. The defending champ is still the team to beat until they're proven otherwise. And the flaws with the Ravens and the Bills and every team in the AFC, like, the one thing that the Chiefs have over all of them is they've done it multiple times. I think the experience, the coaching, possibly ended up getting home field through this playoffs, like, that's a possibility. They could end up getting home field after the second round. Like, whoever plays the Ravens could upset them, right? No matter who it is. So they could end up having that Arrowhead home field advantage. I just have this weird feeling about the Chiefs.
And the Ravens are notoriously falling short in the playoffs.
Yeah, they do it all the time.
6 to 8 years.
Yeah,
they've been the favorite coming in like 3 or 4 times the past 8 years. Lamar's 2019 season, I think 21 they were favorites coming into to like the Chiefs off their pedestal, and they keep kind of messing up. So that's a possibility. Now, I really think that Ravens team is really, really good.
It is really good.
This is a completely different Ravens team that we've never seen before.
Yeah, because they have a new head coach or a new offensive coordinator that has a good game plan for Lamar. It's having him throw the ball a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, and Lamar's actually, like, he's not as fraudulent in throwing the ball as I feel like he used to be. Like, he's really been working on it. Like, his first couple seasons, he was like kind of relying on the run. It didn't throw as much, so he wasn't as accurate. Like, he's doing well. But I really I don't think that the AFC is locked up at all.
It's wide open.
I think the NFC is locked. I think that the Niners, their turn. But that AFC is wide open. Even the Steelers had the opportunity to come in there and shake some shit up.
So I guess for the sake of my official prediction is Chiefs-Niners Super Bowl with the Niners win.
Interesting.
The conspiracy, I like it. The Ravens-Niners, the logo thing, the colors, that would be hilarious if it ends up being that again.
It's been going, dude.
My bold prediction, whatever, you can clown me for having 3 predictions. My bold prediction, Steelers-Packers.
That'd be crazy.
It feels the same, dude.
Done it. They're the only 2 teams who have done it.
It feels the same.
That would be a crazy fucking Super Bowl.
Wild. I would tell you
because look, because like you said, right? Like you said, the Steelers have had the Bills' numbers recently. Then they would go to Baltimore, where they have Baltimore's number, and then whoever they have to go on the road to face, whether it's Kansas City, Cleveland, or Houston, they have a chance because then they'll be rolling in the playoffs. They have like 2 straight playoff wins, and the wins going into the playoffs. They can have some momentum.
And they're a northern team too, so it doesn't. The weather is not going to affect them.
Yeah, exactly. With the Packers, if they can get past the Cowboys, then they go into Frisco. Like they could get their revenge on the Niners. LaFleur finally gets his dub over Shanahan in the playoffs, and then whoever they would face after that, I don't think it would matter.
I would think, dude, if the Packers really can take down the Niners, nobody's touching the Packers in the NFC. Nobody's gonna. Whoever, I don't care who it is. The Lions, because it'll probably be, personally, I think it would be the Lions versus the Packers if that's the case. And
oh god, dude,
a divisional game. That's a divisional.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if we had? Hold on, if we had in that championship games, if we had the Packers Lions and the Steelers Browns.
The Browns? Oh my god, that would be the best championships game ever,
dude.
Oh man, this is one of those things where you have to make that bet now if you want to win good money.
Yeah. Like $50 on the Steelers or $50 on the Packers. That would be that bet.
Even 100, just throw fucking 100 on it, and if it happens, holy shit!
I get paid tomorrow, so
you never know, because it could be one of those bets. Because like the Steelers Packers, you bring that up, and I'm like, that could fucking happen.
That could fucking happen.
I really think that the crazy thing this year is this is actually like, there's no like wild good teams like there has been in the past where it's like, yeah, it's gonna be Kansas City versus the Bengals. Like, yeah, it's gonna be the Eagles versus, people thought it was gonna be the Cowboys, but right, like this year, I feel like this season has been one of the most competitive seasons that we've seen in a while in the NFL. And it could be due to the script, but it really could be due to these. There's a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams that are just random coming in too. Like the Lions and the fucking in the Texans. Like who would have thought that those teams would have been involved in the playoffs this year, and making that you could make decent runs. Like the only team in the AFC side that I really don't think has a chance is the Dolphins. I think they're frauds. And the only team on the NFC side that I don't think has a chance is the Bucs, because. Right? So other than that, dude, those divisions are really wide open. These are going to be really good, a really good season for the playoffs.
I think too. I'm just looking at this graphic. At one point in the season, I feel like over half of these teams I thought were the best team in football. At some point during this season, like these guys, a lot of these guys have all had their moments in the sun where people were talking about them because of how they were playing. Like pretty much every single one of these teams has had that, or that they're like the hottest team and they're going to be trouble in the play. Like it's wide open, dude. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. You want to hear something? You want to hear something crazy? If the Steelers fired Matt Canada just 1 week prior, and Kenny and instead of playing Trubisky, they played Rudolph, the Steelers would be the number 1 seed in the NFL, or number 1 seed in the AFC.
Crazy.
Because they would have a tied record with the Ravens, and they have the tiebreaker.
It's crazy.
Yeah, man, that's interesting take, and actually, it's been kind of the theme this season, right? The teams that are expected to do well, all of a sudden, like the Eagles, let's say. Now, let's say that's the same case for the Niners and the Ravens. They don't get in, and it's the Steelers-Packers. What a Super Bowl would that be? I'm
thinking about making those.
There could be good money. And just
if you did 4 different like parlays, and you had Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Detroit and Green Bay as like winning the Super Bowl or something, like you could end up making a lot of money.
Hey man, $100. You spend more than that on a week on food, so why not, right?
I spent $180 for 3 days on food. I think I'm cool with the $100 bet.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. With that being said, let's hit our playoffs edition of Quick Hitters. But before we get on there, let's talk about our final count for the regular season. Naro has that count for the Quick Hitters.
All right, guys.
Break it down for us.
Let's do it. So, just kind of running up last week. So
we had a special guest last week, Chef.
Chef did well. So last week, Quick Hitters came up. It is I came in last week. Then Proper and Chef with 11. Zach did his picks on his side. I trust him. He did 12. But Francis, the guy of the season, came in with the win for last week.
I think that's his best win all season.
That's a fantastic win. That is a fantastic win this season. So the crazy thing is that actually ties Francis with Zach at 3. Well, you got one up on him this week, so you could possibly, he's not here. Well, if he gets his picks in. But what that does actually for me, thank you, Francis, is it keeps me in contentions with Proper, because Proper is now still only 1 up on me. If he would have won this week, he'd have been 2 up on me. It'd have been tough going into the playoffs.
Playoffs?
Playoffs? Playoffs? So, you got to do it every time we say the word playoffs.
So we started week 3 really counting and paying attention to it. Proper has 7. I have 6. Zach and Francis are tied at 3. It's coming down to a tight race coming into the playoffs.
Playoffs?
So,
right, what a good fucking regular season of Quick Hitters. I had fun with that.
I have a proposal.
Okay.
That we pick through playoffs, and the week is worth 2 wins.
Each week or Super Bowl?
Each week.
Super Bowl would be we could do something else for a Super Bowl, but
each week is 2 wins.
Yeah, you guys are up by 2 weeks on us.
Well, so okay. I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
Let's make it spicy.
Okay.
Unless you want to separate the playoffs into a different new section.
Yeah, we could do that too. I'm cool with
where
that.
We can keep score with that too, where it's like the regular season's done, the score is done, but then now we can do the postseason.
Okay.
With a different set of scoring rules. But we'll make our picks and we'll decide in the chat, and then we'll post it on the next episode.
Yeah, we'll let you. All right, let's get into it, guys. Wild card weekend.
Quick hitters. Let's bring up that playoff bracket one more time.
God, this is.
I'm gonna run it down. I'm gonna go with the AFC section first.
Yeah, you guys
make your picks. Yeah. All right.
And then go with first.
We got Browns, Texans. I'm going with the Browns.
It's so tough.
It's a tough one, but because Stroud could very well go off on his Browns.
Browns.
That's what I'm saying. And the Browns didn't sit their defense last week, and Browning exposed them. And Stroud is a better quarterback than Browning. But Flacco's got playoff experience.
He's
Super Bowl experience.
Yep. He's got a ring.
What about good say?
I'm going with the Texans.
God, you just can't get over that division rival.
Now we got the Dolphins and the Chiefs. I'm going with Chiefs on this one. Huh?
Chiefs. I went Browns.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Chiefs.
I feel like that's an all-around.
Steelers. Bills. Oh, man.
Bills.
We were talking about how this could be the Steelers, Packers, Super Bowl, but I'm going to have to go with the Bills on this one.
Last time I played against my team, I lost, but we're like coming down to the final, man.
Hey, man, this is the playoffs. You got to go for your team.
Playoffs.
Playoffs.
Hey, it's wide open.
It really fucking is.
Honestly, that's just how each side is wide open, really. It can happen. Anyone can fucking win this shit.
I'm rocking with it.
You know, Steelers?
Yep.
You have to.
Start with the bottom of the NFC.
Okay, bottom of the NFC. All right, so we got the Packers going against the Cowboys. Packers are solid, but I'm going Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Yeah, boys. God, it's tough though. Because if it really was, if it was in Lambeau, I'd Packers.
Oh, this game too. McCarthy versus his old team.
Oh yeah.
Cowboys are winning that one.
Always fun. Those are always fun.
I'm going with the Cowboys.
All right, we got the Lions against the Rams. Give me the Lions.
God, give me the Lions.
Yeah, give me the Lions. But that real God, dude, I love the playoffs this year. They're solid.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
Those two NFC games on Sunday are going to be phenomenal.
And then our Monday night game, the Eagles fly into Tampa Bay. I'm going with the Eagles.
Yeah, I feel like you kind of have to go with the Eagles, even though they've been playing garbage.
But the second round, they're not getting past the Niners.
No, they're not. The Niners got them locked up.
Oh man, I feel like every year there's a 4 seed that surprises. I feel like it happens every year.
It's not going to be the Bucks, I'll tell you that. It could be the fucking Texans.
It'll be
It might be the Bucks.
That would be the team.
I think it might be the Bucks. Give me the Eagles, whatever. It's playoffs, right?
Wow.
Playoffs? Playoffs. Well, there it is.
Guys, it's a short week.
Yeah, it is. We got our quick hitters in. All right, guys. Good shit.
So you guys have the same picks, so I'm the only one who's got anything different into this one.
I guess
I
we're
don't
gonna
like
see how-
that.
We're going to have to see how this plays off. But before we wrap it up, Naro wanted to talk about something real quick that he has cooking up. Articles.
Oh,
Your articles real quick. Yeah.
Right, so we got this cool thing started. If you've seen our website, we started doing some articles here and there. So we're kind of like a whole thing. We're not just a podcast. We don't just run episodes. We got a whole community going on with our group. So I think we're about 2 to 3 articles in. We're going to start staying more consistent, but sports is a big thing. Obviously, you guys have heard my rants throughout the season, so I definitely got a lot to write about. But we have some articles coming in. Go peep our stuff, and you're gonna be seeing a lot more coming in here within the next forever, hopefully.
Perfect. Yeah, guys. So please, in order to get access to that, I'll let you guys know how to get on there. But before we go, just want to say thank you guys for tuning in for these last 18 episodes of sports. Sadly, the regular season has come to an end, but it's not over yet. We have the postseason to look forward to. We got quick hitters for the postseason, and after that, we'll see what happens. But we got basketball coming up. We got baseball with Zach coming up. It's going to be great. Just because the football season's over doesn't mean we're done with that. So before I let you go, I want to thank you all for tuning in. And if you want to keep the conversation going, please visit K4V3.com and our Patreon at patreon.com/K4V3 to join our Discord server and connect with the sports crew. That's 5P0RT5. And before you head out, please check out our sponsor, SafeLightCandle.com, for all your LED lighting needs at affordable prices. Please visit them now so you can stay lit for the Lolo. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Proper, here with Legit Naro and Zach. We are signing off for the evening, baby. Let's get Wildcard Weekend going.
Let's get wild, baby.
Playoffs?
Playoffs.
Playoffs.